Yo, world peace, is that too much to ask for? There's no peace and love until they scrap wars. They print the money while we paying tax for, and we don't want your vaccines or COVID passports. World peace, is that too much to ask for? There's no peace and love until they scrap wars. They print the money while we paying tax for, and we don't want your vaccines or COVID passports. The human race is under attack now, so will you stand your ground or will you back down? I'm sick of seeing fiends all cracked out, and these younger brothers dealing in the trap house. It's a message to the people out there selling weight, and all the 9-to-5ers that are never late. You can get to where you wanna be and elevate. You can pray for what you want or even meditate, but appreciate life and just give thanks. I see a poor man get ignored by a rich man. I'm seeing homeless living outside a big bank, but without bad there's no good, it's called yin yang. Free the world or they'll take my life for it, but don't worry cause I'll live on through my spirit. For this money we give up too much time for it, and why we chasing money when we can't die with it? World peace, is that too much to ask for? There's no peace and love until they scrap wars. They print the money while we paying tax for, and we don't want your vaccines or COVID passports. World peace, is that too much to ask for? There's no peace and love until they scrap wars. They print the money while we paying tax for, and we don't want your vaccines or COVID passports. Stop the madness, I could never stand for this. They jab the adults, now they wanna jab the kids. The world needs saving, on the man for it, but shit's gonna get worse, can you handle it? All of this to apparently protect the elderly. Fuck the government, all they do is sell your dreams. Trying to find paradise is like hell to me. Free the world or die trying, who's helping me? Cause there's another lockdown, they are mocking it. It's a new world order, are you clocking it? Turn off the news if you're still watching it, cause all they do is chat shit, put a sock in it. You thought it would get better, but it's getting worse. People been double jabbing, ready to get a third. Or it said stay at home, I didn't get a word. Cause before my life is over, I'ma live it first. World peace, is that too much to ask for? There's no peace and love until they scrap wars. They print the money while we paying tax for, and we don't want your vaccines or COVID passports. World peace, is that too much to ask for? There's no peace and love until they scrap wars. They print the money while we paying tax for, and we don't want your vaccines or COVID passports. World peace, is that too much to ask for? There's no peace and love until they scrap wars. They print the money while we paying tax for, and we don't want your vaccines or COVID passports. World peace, is that too much to ask for? There's no peace and love until they scrap wars. They print the money while we paying tax for, and we don't want your vaccines or COVID passports.
Right, hopefully you can hear us. We are back. The Wide Awake Show is here with myself, really Roxanne. One of my co-hosts here, one of my amazing co-hosts, Richie Rich, is with us all the way off the west coast of Africa in Tenerife. You are all in the chat room, which I'm so grateful to see you still there. So sorry for the delay in starting. How you doing, Rich? You all right?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm glad to be back. You know, it's been a long time. Yeah. It's been a minute since I've been on the screen. So we had a few little tech issues just setting up there. Massive shout out to Mama Sita for her patience in trying to get it all sorted out. It was a lot to say the least. Shout out to everyone in the chat room. We'll be with you very, very shortly. That was Guidance playing us in there with his new track. We're going to put that into the description after the show, where you can get the link for the download. You can purchase his music on Spotify, on iTunes. You can get him on all sorts of platforms. Shout out to Guidance for sending that track into us today. We've got many more to play for you throughout this evening. Rich, first and foremost, I want to know how you've been. How's everything over in Tenerife just now?
Yeah, it's well, I'm still here. It's been the last couple of years has been weird. It's different here to how it is everywhere else, it seems, because because this is, it's a Tenerife as a holiday destination. So although you do have, obviously, you've got all the people that live here, but most of the people come here for a holiday, and so basically everybody that's come here has complied with everything just to be able to get here. So they've had all their even before they were even saying that, before Tenerife even said that people had to be, double before they came over from the UK. The UK residents were still doing it anyway, just in case. Oh well, no, it's just in case. Like, I mean, yeah, the people over here just all comply. That's the most frustrating thing, is that they're just a bunch of zombie sheep all walking around with their,
This is something that you're seeing firsthand, though, isn't it, Rich? To be fair, like you're seeing tourists from all countries across Europe, and is that genuinely what you're seeing firsthand? You're seeing people, complying, having gone through the rigmarole to get there in the first place. Has that surprised you at all? What how has that affected the businesses over there? Are they getting back up and running? Are the bars back up and running? Are the tourists in there again like they used to be?
I'll be honest, I don't actually know. No, they're not. Nothing's back to normal. Everything's been hit hard. Earlier this year, when I was still working, we got in, when was it? 21. Not earlier this year. It was earlier last year. Crikey, it's 2022 now, isn't it? The last year is just boom, gone. So in 2020. I had 6 months off because of lockdowns, and then I went back. I think it was around, I can't remember. I went back, and I worked for another 6 months. Or no, it wasn't 6 months. Worked for a couple of months, and then they closed down again. There weren't any lockdowns or anything, but they closed down because of the curfews. They'd imposed curfews instead of lockdowns. And it was a 10 o'clock curfew, so there was just no point in being open, because they didn't get enough business during the day. All the business came from my gigs at night, and it having to finish at 10 o'clock. Everybody be home by 10 o'clock. It just put the kibosh on that. So we shut down for another 6 months, and then they called me back and said, right, we're going back to work. Went back, and things did actually start to get busy again, or they seemed to get busy again. And then then the manager came up and said, oh Rich, really sorry, but because you haven't got a contract and you don't have a residencia and blah, 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 we can't employ you anymore. And he said, we'll sort this out. We'll get your residencia sorted and everything. And that was in August last year, and still nothing's happened, and I haven't worked since. So yeah, it's just difficult, feeling so powerless. That's the worst thing, being a man and feeling completely powerless, liking to be in control. I'm not I'm not a control freak, but I do like to be in control of things that I can, be in, and take control of things that aren't going right,
Yeah. I hear that, brother.
None of us can do this, can we? None of us. We've all got a little bit of a control freak in us, I think. We'd all like to take control of this situation, because we can all see ways that it's not working, things that should be stopped, and they're not being stopped. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think I can completely resonate with what you're saying, and I think, like, with the way things are going across Europe, as we've heard behind the scenes, like, we've got people in Malta that are dealing with the same kind of rigmarole that you're dealing with there on the Canaries. In the chat room, we've got Here We Go Again asking, do you think that Spain are going to drop their vaccine policy for tourists? What are you hearing on the roads? What are you
I'm not hearing anything. I'll be honest with you, I'm not hearing anything, because I don't go anywhere, and I don't do anything now. I feel extremely uncomfortable outside of my room because of the attitudes, and because of the situation as it is. So I no longer speak to anybody.
Again, we've had the same over in Malta as well. So I know that your situation's not isolated. And as people are watching, I want you to know that Rich's situation over there in the Canaries is not isolated. There's a lot of people that have become self-employed, doing their own thing, and still, you know, being a contributive member of society. However, there is a loop which is come into play, one which we'll talk about in future shows with people that are across Europe as well. But there is a lot of rigmarole that's getting involved here, Rich, and I can see that there's some people in the chat room that are resonating with this. Lunderground's got a comment here saying that we're getting there. The torrent of injuries and other medical problems is beginning to fill the headlines now, as they print many desperate fake news stories and try and hide it. It doesn't work. We've got a banner at the bottom of the screen right now, showing you statistics off of the government's coronavirus vaccine weekly summary. You know, the yellow card statistics. If you don't know about that, that's something that we're going to talk about later on in the show. I think it's something that everybody should be bringing up in their conversations with people regarding these statistics, because they're not talked about. I've spoken to a few people and they're not really clued up about them. I don't know if you are in the chat room. Please let us know in the chat room if the yellow card statistics are something that you've come across. If you haven't, let us know if you haven't. And if you want more information, as I said, we'll be talking about that later on in the show. What's your take on that, Rich?
I know that they're not reporting properly. They're not I've seen Project Veritas interviews. Yeah, well, it was one interview with a nurse who was saying about how they're not doing it properly. They're not following procedure, and that's the case with everything that they're doing. They're not. They're bringing in these new procedures, and they don't even follow them. You know, it's. It's a joke, man.
It is getting to the point where it's laughable. It is getting laughable. I think with the current charade that's gone on with the government and the optics that's gone on with Boris Johnson, I think your average person, and this is another thing that I wanted to get to this evening, the rate of the Great Awakening that's going on since the show last aired. Something that we were saying to you at the time was that the silent majority were getting louder and louder and louder, and now that silent majority has spewed into the Great Awakening. Myself and Asita were talking in the car this evening about people that have woken up since the coronavirus at a rate of progression that I think is maybe by a factor of 10 or not, with people that are sharing information about vaccine injuries. People are sharing information about the virus, whether there are viruses or not. I think you that have watched the shows before, you will know what the show's point of views are with that. And obviously we'll speak to Adam in the future, and we'll bring you up to speed with where he's at with things. But obviously we have our opinions. Rich, if you want to elaborate on what's your take on the virus, the Rona, Adam used to call it Rona Bona, but I'll say the Rona situation.
It hasn't changed since day one. My entire stance on it hasn't changed since day one, because I've known what it is since day one, since the very beginning, since they first named it. And I said, oh, well, that's funny. Isn't that strange? Because this thing has existed since whenever, since I can remember. I remember my mum telling me about it in the 1980s. I remember her telling me about how they will never find a cure for it because it constantly mutates. And it constantly grows into different variants. That was in the 1980s, which obviously it was really distressing for me that the woman that is posing as my mother now doesn't seem to remember that. She can't seem to remember any of her medical training. She can't seem to remember any of the things that she knew and she instilled in me in the 1980s when I was a young kid. She hasn't remembered any of it. It's all, she's gone, well, like I say, it's the woman that is posing as my mother at the moment.
There's been a few people that have spoken about this before. Like I've had a few people come to me telling me that their elders in their family, they've gone through their whole childhood, their whole upbringing, and their elders have had a particular standpoint, a particular viewpoint on things. Since the situation has come around, we're getting a lot of hypocritical points of view. And that's what you're experiencing. Let us know in the chat room if that's something that you've experienced with your nearest and dearest. I know from personal experience, your family and your closest ones that you've grown up with, in my experience, have been the most judgmental people in my life. So I've been very wary not to isolate myself just within my immediate family, and to branch out and have conversations out amongst people. But with your take in this as well, I'm going to get to the chat room in a second. Please don't think we're ignoring you.
Yeah, we've got to say hi, man. It's so good to see you people. It's so good to see all of you, seriously.
Big time. You know what? Carla, I see you, my darling. Shout out to you, that flat fellow. Londerground, I see you as well. Lizzo, and Stephen Watson as well. Leafy, Shivites Jagnath as well. Bill Wall as well. Neil Shannon as well. Squirrel Sniper. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Honestly, it's lovely to see you all in the chat room. And we do want you, Paul from Newcastle as well. Lovely to see you too. We do want you all to get involved with the conversations that we're having this evening. And if there's anything that you would like to ask us, I know that I've not been on the screens in a while. If there's any questions that you have to ask us, don't hesitate to pop them in the chat room as well. I'll be more than happy to answer anything that you have. Later on in the show as well, we've got some information coming up about what the show is intending to do. We've got a little bit of information. This is not the only time we're going to go live. There will be future shows on a regular basis, at least once a week moving forward. Other than that,
we're back, baby.
We are indeed. Later on in the show, I think towards the end of the show, I think Jimmy's going to try and join as well. Noel will be on future shows. We've got Asita here as well. She's off camera, but can you shout hey?
What's up, peeps?
Can you hear her? She's here. She's here.
Asita.
Yeah, we're here. So yeah, very excited to be back.
61 people. It says on the thing we've got 61 people watching.
That's not bad. Given the amount of shadow banning, the fact that we didn't give you all a lot of notice as well. Not too bad.
That's
given that we're still live as well. Shout out to YouTube for letting us stay live for a moment at least. John ThinkPad, shout out to you. Serious Truth, thank you so much for tuning in. And if you see me looking down, it's because I'm looking at my screen. It's not because I'm not paying attention. I'm just aware of that as well. Robin Hood, thank you for tuning in. Homeless in America, thanks
Robin
for tuning
Hood.
in. Yeah,
Robin Hood is here.
Robin Hood's here.
Oh no, it's Robin Hood.
That's Robin Hood.
Robin's Hood.
Okay. David Sterling as well. Thank you for tuning in. Bubba Garland, I see you as well. Thank you for tuning in. So again, statistics, numbers. I'm always keen to talk about numbers, Rich, because they always like to give us numbers. And when they give us numbers, that normally catches them out later on down the road. Numbers was a bit of a game for the government, as we all know, while they were giving us all the amount of numbers of people that we could either see or not see. Protesters like myself or activists like myself were out there getting arrested for protesting or filming protesting. People in government were having parties and having a right laugh behind closed doors, weren't they? Apparently, one patient in Bedfordshire has died from a confirmed case of Lassa fever, the UK Health Secretary Agency have said.
Of
Lassa fever. Lassa fever? Anyone ever heard of it?
Lassa fever.
Lassa Vegas fever. Viva Las Vegas. I don't know. But these are the things they're coming out with. I feel like it gets more curiouser and curiouser every day.
Well, I saw a video. I didn't watch it because I saw it and just went, oh God, okay then. Yeah, really? Right. It's basically, they're saying that there is a new, more dangerous, more virulent strain of HIV out now.
Yeah. Like where do we want to go with this? Because I'm triggered. I'm triggered from the get-go with this. So I'll yield the floor. I will yield the floor. You take it away. But you know, we've got an opinion on this. I've definitely got an opinion on this, and I just hope it doesn't offend anybody. But do you want to fire away, Rich? What's your take on?
I have to be really careful, don't I, with what I say. That in itself should kind of indicate to everybody what I think about this, what I think about every single infectious disease and everything that they've been. I mean, let's just put it like this, because this says it all. Basically, this says enough. The doctor, the medical doctor that was basically heading up and really, really pushing the whole HIV/AIDS thing in the 1980s, guess what his name was? Any guesses, Rox? What was his name?
Go on. Go on.
The initials are, well, they're the same initials for the words as fuck. AF. Who could that be? Oh, yeah. Anthony flipping Fauci.
I had to let you go for it.
He was the oh, I wouldn't say he was the mastermind, because that man couldn't mastermind a 3-year-old's bloody birthday party, but he was definitely one of the movers and shakers. He was one of the lobbyists, you know, that was really pushing the whole HIV/AIDS thing back in the 1980s. And here he is again, doing exactly the same thing again. And yeah, calls himself a doctor, but
I feel history
never
repeats
actually
itself.
practiced it. He's never practiced medicine, has he? He's not a practicing medical doctor. He's just got a doctorate. That's all.
Fauci ouchie. Shout out to Vividness 420. Fauci ouchie.
Vividness.
Not a doctor. Not a doctor, says Reverend Hull. I've got a few things for us to go through as well. I'm going to share the screen in a second. You can't do a grain of research on something that doesn't exist, says David Sterling.
Is he talking about a gain of research or gain of function?
I would have
gain of function, because that's the whole thing, isn't it? This whole gain of function thing, that in itself for me is a real. I don't understand it personally. I don't get it, because there was a time when I believed in things like that, and I believed that I could catch something off somebody else, that somebody else could make me sick or give me some sort of disease. But I haven't been sick for 4 years, and I don't wash my hands regularly, and I don't wear a mask, and I'll eat food off the floor, and you know, all of these supposed risks that we're under, all of these, and with the current one as it is, then I mean, if it was real, if it really was a real thing, then surely just changing my perception of it wouldn't actually change the reality of it. If just changing my perception of something wouldn't stop me getting sick, if sickness was caused by what they say it's caused by. But changing my perception of what was happening to me, since I changed my perception of what was happening to me, I've not been sick. So what does that say?
I think for me, the things that they're purporting to be real, the things that they're purporting that the way in which we catch, the way in which we get unwell, the whole 9 yards is forced down our throat. It's a narrative that we've been brought up with. Who have they taught us to trust the most? They've taught us to trust the medical institutions the most. So yeah, I'm pretty much in the same line of talk is underground. How much of this can any of us? I'm being the reason I'm hesitating as I'm speaking is I'm realizing I'm on YouTube. So I know at any point, if I go too far with this, in a minute, it'll just say stream unavailable. And then I'll get a notification saying, you've done something. So I think you kind of all get what I'm saying. I think I'm no different from 2020 when I said, listen, they're going to tell you that this virus is A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. They're going to tell you that people are going to drop dead from this virus. We've already gone through the fact that doctors have had to write death certificates saying that someone has died of said thing when it's been present. So that's like saying that someone's died from influenza when it was just present when they died. So for me,
I'm dying with it rather than from it, isn't it? It's
correct.
They're saying they're registering people that have died with it as having died from it. So
yes. And on the screen now is where we are. This is where we are. This is what the muggles are being told now. Moving clocks forward an hour could be dangerous for millions of Brits.
Are you serious?
Shaking a bed viciously. Yeah.
Is this
yeah. Go on.
This is actually real. This is a real, like, it's not
This
a
is not made up from Photoshop. No, this is real. Real. Yeah. Yep. Yep.
I mean, really, if this was a war, if this is a war, surely we could just go out, basically dress up as ghosts, and just go and boo everybody, and they'll all shit themselves and die because they're terrified of everything. Right? Hey, I just want to shout out to Cam. I just see Cam's in the chat. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you, man. And Kappa as well. Kappa-licious.
Great. Apparently, lonely older women are at greater risk of a heart attack as well. Study has shown.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. Not middle-aged men, not middle-aged alcoholic men who work in the stock exchange. They're not more at risk of a heart attack than elderly women. Yeah. Elderly women, they're the most at risk. Right.
Also, you're at risk if you take paracetamol as well. It increases the risk of heart attack.
But doesn't this tell you something that they're priming us up for something, because they weren't even announcing this at the beginning of the snake oil.
I hear that as well. Asita saying, don't you feel like they're priming us for something? Don't you feel like, I do feel like the narrative of heart attack, global warming, climate change, heart attack.
Well, you know why they're telling everybody that they're going to be having heart attacks? We know exactly why they're going to be telling everybody that heart attacks are on a rise and everybody's having heart attacks, because it's a recognized, documented side effect of said.
Yeah.
It's called myocarditis.
I've got to be careful about what we say.
It's myocarditis and heart inflammation. And it's been
we've seen enough athletes drop from it as well. I think I've lost count of the amount of footballers that have
some of the healthiest men and women on earth.
Yeah.
Some of the healthiest men and women on earth. Fit and healthy, good diets, and they're dying of heart attacks.
Yeah.
Not only that, murdering people knowing that they've got heart conditions.
Yeah.
So
knowingly giving it to people that have heart conditions as well.
Prior, after taking the snake oil, they then give them
within 7 days.
Telling them that if they don't, no, it doesn't matter what your doctor says. We don't care if your doctor says you might die if you have this injection. If you don't have it, you are a second-class citizen and you're not entitled to do X, Y, and Z. Yeah.
You know what? It beggars belief. It beggars belief that I feel like some people have doubled down somewhat on the situation, given the severity of the amount of things that have come to light that have been proven to be absolute BS. At this point, I feel that if you still believe the narrative, then you've doubled down for some innate reason. You have decided to not just believe a little bit, double down on it. I see a clip the other day of people saying in an interview, I even though masks are not required anymore, I'm still going to keep my mask on. I'm vaccinated, but I'm still going to keep my mask on. And they don't even know what they're saying as they're saying it. So
was that the video that I did? Was that the video that I did?
Yeah, it was brilliant.
Was a short I did the other day, wasn't it?
Brilliant.
So basically,
Absolutely
this is what we're dealing with. This is what we're dealing with. Like, it's so my theory on that is, basically that we've got two types of human being, haven't we? We've got those that are activated and those that aren't. Those that have switched on their cognitive ability, they use their discernment and they listen to the voice in their head that's telling them, it's the conscience, the Jiminy Cricket, that's saying to them, this is right, this is wrong, you shouldn't do this, you should do that. The people that listen to that voice, or at least acknowledge it, they don't necessarily always listen to it, but they acknowledge that the voice is there. For me, that voice is God. That's God speaking to you, or your higher self, or the Most High, or angels, or the divine, or whatever you want to say it is. It's that's the one that tells you to do good things. It's coming from a good place. And those people are connected, and so essentially connected to source, and have the ability to use their discernment, have the ability to, they actually have their own free will. They have free will. Those that haven't been activated yet, those that haven't woken up, who are still sheeple, asleep, zombies, doing whatever they're told to do, parroting whatever they're told to parrot, they have no free will. They'll sit there thinking they've got free will. They've got none whatsoever.
It's really sad, isn't it? Thinking about it like that. What at this point, chat room, I want you to get involved as well. What at this point do you feel is going to take to wake the rest of those masses up? As we've seen hundreds of thousands of people internationally across Earth protesting, getting out onto the streets, doing activism, outreach. What at this point do you think it's going to take to wake the rest of the populace up?
I actually,
Asita said nothing.
Nothing unless. I think there's a possibility that if they were to implement a martial law, put in lockdowns again, activate a martial law or something like that, that might wake more people up. But as it stands at the moment, I think what the UK and Ireland and Denmark and all that, what they've done, I mean, they put a cat amongst the pigeons by taking away those mandates and the COVID passport and everything. Jesus, my mind's just gone blank. I know what I was going to say, and it's just.
That's all right. While you're remembering, I'm just going to pick up on what some people are saying in the chat room. Stephen Watson reckons it's going to take the loss of property, assets, possibly family, for some people to wake up. Israel Adams thinks nothing will change until Principality or the Vatican's removed.
Yeah, I think mainstream media. I think really. So what I've been saying for a while now is that the sheep will always exist. They're never going to go anywhere. They will always exist. The whole point of that is we're supposed to be the shepherds. We're supposed to be shepherding those sheep. As individuals, as awakened individuals, we are meant to be the shepherds. And so until mainstream media is taken down, or at least overhauled and purged of all of the wrong ones that are in there, if they could actually just start telling the truth and being real journalists, like I remember journalists being back in the 80s, even though they were probably just as controlled back then. But if we could get to real journalism where real things are reported and people are given their ability to discern the truth for themselves again, then that might make a difference. But as long as mainstream media exists, the sheep will always be programmed by that.
It's going to take us winning this fight for them to actually, but they won't even do anything. They'll just continue and follow what we do. Yeah. So for the rest of the people that are still complying and following, it's fear and the case. Well, it's fear driven. Yeah. So many things. So until we win this fight, you're not going to see them change because they don't know what to do. You can't help these souls. They're scared and lost. So you have to leave them to it and continue and focus on this path that they're on.
It's a good point. It's a good point. You just have to leave them to it sometimes, continue and focus on the path that we're on. And when they're ready, they'll come to their pursuit of truth and they will be enlightened if they're supposed to. But I think for some, they've just doubled down. They definitely have. They've
doubled down, but they've doubled down because the media's doubled down. They've doubled down because government's doubled down.
They were always down.
Asita said they never doubled down. They were always down. They were just down. They were just downright dirty from the get-go. Downright dirty. No, I feel like, yeah, the media have done a doozy, to be fair. I felt like the media did double down somewhat by just perpetuating it 24 hours a day, to the point where you've got your local community repeating that rhetoric. I think everyone remembers when myself and Jimmy went into my local shop, and even the police officers were repeating the narrative from the mainstream media and then lying on top of it and saying they had family members that had died of it.
No.
Only for then Crime Watch to put them on blast, and then for the police officers' family members to get on the comment section and say it's not really true, though, is it? Family members didn't.
I mean, that cracks me up as well, because they did that, didn't they? It was on Facebook. They were making comments on Facebook saying, "What are you talking about? Why are you lying to people?" And his response was,
"Not
please
here.
Don't do this here.
Not here.
Please don't do this here.
Not here. Not here." Yeah, really bad. We've seen human rights being breached. We've seen nothing that would give us any evidence that anything we've been told is true with this. I'm just thinking right back to when we first saw that lockdown in Lombardy to now. I've just not seen one shred of evidence that anything that they've been.
Do you know, it's funny you mention that, because that's one of the that I watched that only a brief bit of it, but the video that we did about Lombardy, when Lombardy was locked down, that 2 years ago, man, 2 years ago we did that. So I mean, well, I was just going to point out how we've been telling everybody exactly what's going on. We've been saying it for at least 2 years, since like the February 2020, and everything that we've said has happened in the order that we said it would happen. It's gone on for as long as we said it would go on for, and it's yeah. Most of the people in the chat room know that, though, don't they? I'm just looking at all the names. It's all the old names, man.
It's nice, isn't it?
And nice some new ones, as well.
It's lovely to see. Everyone, I would love your take in the chat room. Give me your opinion on what you think about the convoy of trucks in Canada. We've got lots of people saying it's controlled up. We've got other people saying it's not controlled up. There is genuine people in there, but it has been taken over. We've got some people going, this is biblical. This is biblical. This is like Jericho. This is like horns taking out a city. Yeah. You've got modern day horns going into cities and deafening people. Yeah. So there is a lot of different opinions about this. There's a lot of different perspectives. I kind of agree with all of those perspectives in a way. I do feel like any genuine organic movement that is grassroots, that is genuine people that want to do a genuinely good thing, doesn't take very long for Controlled Up to try and get involved and control it.
You're right. So
was it hijacked though, or was it just?
Was it hijacked though?
Or the question.
Okay, so I've heard a theory about this that I actually agree with, and it resonated with me when I heard it. Right. You've heard of looking glass technology?
Yeah. Give me a brief explanation just for anyone who's like, looking glass technology. What are you talking about?
Looking glass technology, as far as I'm aware, has been around since the 50s or 60s. And it's a device that allows them to look into potential timelines, to look into the future, into potential timelines. So ever since they've had the technology, that's what they've been doing. They've been trying to predict the future to be able to adjust for it, not for our benefit, but for their own. And they looked into the future, and every single timeline that they looked into, every single timeline bar none, all led to the same point, and they couldn't see past that point. And it seemed to be that it didn't matter what happened. They even created new timelines. It didn't matter. Everything converged to this one point. And one of the things that they looked at was this convoy. And in every single timeline that they looked at, this convoy was an organic, a grassroots organic movement. And it was successful, and it gained traction, and it basically led to their downfall. So the only way this is the theory that I heard. The only way that their only option, as far as they could see, their only option to take control of the situation was to create the timeline themselves and create. So they created the timeline where they actually instigated it. It wasn't a grassroots organic movement. It was actually started by the enemy, basically. But because it exists in every other timeline as an organic grassroots movement, all it needed was the little spark to create that movement again in this timeline. So although it was started by nefarious individuals, and although it's been hijacked, and a lot of people have attached themselves to it, started up GoFundMe's, GoSendMe's, PayPal's, all trying to get rich off it, all trying to get their payout. It doesn't matter, because I think what it's doing, this whole movement is actually demonstrating to people what duality is, because this realm here is duality. This is a realm of duality, left and right, black and white, this polarization. And that's what's happened to society. We've been polarized, and that's what's going on in the trucker movement. It's not all bad, but it's not all good either. There's a mixture of both in there. And
good point. I've got a little clip, Rich, if you're all right if I play this.
Yeah, go for it.
I think this will be quite interesting. So if you just bear with me, everybody, I'm just gonna. It's a bit rusty, been a minute and all that. Bear with me. I'm just gonna line this up, so hopefully you'll be able to see and hear it.
People love trucks. Chris Eubanks drives a nice truck, and I loved the film Convoy when I was a kid. Most of all, I appreciate the people who drive trucks, as it means that all our goods get to be delivered to the shops so we can buy them. Trucks and the people who drive them are fundamental foundation to our civilization worldwide. With that being said, I really don't get this protest. So let's take a closer look and see if this is a genuine protest against vaccine mandates, or is it something else? The official reason for this protest is this. Freedom Convoy 2022 is an ongoing process conducted by truck drivers in Canada against COVID-19 vaccine requirements to re-enter the country by land introduced by the Government of Canada on January 15, 2022. So who's organising this protest? I'm really not up on my Canadian politics. I'm clearly an outsider looking in. With a few quick searches on MegaSearch, it appears that this entire protest and fundraising operation is being organised by Tamara Lynch and her friends. She's the secretary of Maverick Party, who comes from the oil and gas industry, before promoting Canadian rights and freedoms, which sent her into politics. The Maverick Party, which Tamara belongs to, is a political party formed after a successful merger between the Wexit Alberta and the Freedom Conservative Party to create the Wild Rose Independence Party. Tamara moved into the federal side, joining the board of directors for Wexit Canada, later to become the Maverick Party. So, one political party is basically organising to protest the government and raise funds as they go. So has the Maverick Party seen an opportunity to gain some political ground by organising this trucking event? Tamara Lynch has raised since the start of the protest being put online over $10 million. The party issued a statement stating that they, the Maverick Party, were not directly involved with the convoy. So they haven't denied being involved, they've just denied being directly involved. When it comes to politics, language is extremely important. But the secretary of the party is involved, and she has raised over $10 million. So who is that money for, and how will it be distributed? That's a question that the GoFundMe website wants answering as well. And they have since stopped the fundraising of the account, and they are going to distribute the funds to charities or something like that. But this is typical of GoFundMe. Information on the campaign's GoFundMe page is unclear what the protest is actually about. It's not overtly about vaccination mandates or COVID-19. It seems to me to be more about a general freedom protest. It reads, "To our fellow Canadians, the time for political overreach is over. Our current government is implementing rules and mandates that are destroying the foundation of our business, industries, and livelihoods." But with 90% or more of the truckers already vaccinated, whose livelihoods are they talking about? This is sounding more like a political rally than a genuine protest from ordinary people who have concerns about their freedoms. It continues. "Canadians have been integral to the fabric of humanity in many ways that have shaped the planet." I don't disagree. So this protest isn't about vaccination mandates, more a general protest. So why is Tamara Lich, secretary of the Maverick Party, organising this? Let's take a look a little closer to understand any political party. We must simply look to their leader. Jay Hill is the interim leader of the Maverick Party, a big oil and gas sector player, both in exploration and production in northern BC. So it appears that Tamara Lynch, the secretary of the Maverick Party, and their leader have both worked extensively in big oil and gas at executive level. On the Mark Patron show, Tamara Lynch was asked in response to meeting opposition from law enforcement, had she asked permission to protest. Here's what she had to say.
The police are going to be on hand. They're going to start levying fines. They're going to say, "Hey, you guys have no business doing this. You don't have permission to be here." So they're going to come. They're going to meet opposition when they get there.
They will, and we're aware of that. We know what's going to happen, but we also know that something has to be done. I mean, we have a government that has been for the last few years trying to sabotage so many industries, and I work in oil and gas, right? The environment minister just came out and said they're going to phase that out within 18 months. 18 months, and this is just another example of an industry that they're hitting. So basically, if I may be frank, we're not asking.
But I thought this protest was about vaccine mandates and not about closing down of the oil and gas industry. Jay Hill, the leader of the Maverick Party, after 17 years and through 6 general elections, had a high-profile career as a senior politician in roles as whip and House leader, both in opposition and in government, being directly appointed to cabinet position in 2007 by the then Prime Minister Harper. When Jay retired from full-time politics in 2010, he established a lobbying firm to provide strategic counsel and guidance to CEOs and senior executives in the energy and telecom sectors. So he became a powerful lobbyist, lobbying for his clients, which just so happened to be major oil and gas corporations. So the people organizing this protest aren't so grassroots as we were led to believe. So what's the real story?
So, what is the real story?
Where's my wrench gone, really, Roxanne?
Where is it? Sorry, I'll have to find a way to sort that out on my phone. I'll get that sorted in the next couple of minutes. So, what is the real deal with this? What's your take on that, Rich? What's your take on it in the chat room? I will get your comments up on the screen.
So, what Cam said. Was he talking about the guy that was speaking about it just being an opinion? Was this because it is fact that the people organising the GoFundMe and stuff, that's obviously a fact. That woman, she's the whatever it is of that Maverick Party. I mean, have you seen that they've frozen? The court has frozen the Give Send Go as well. 8.6 million. they raised on Give Send Go when they opened up Give Send Go after GoFundMe was shut down, raised 8.6 million, and the Ontario court has frozen it and confiscated. I don't know if they've just frozen it or confiscated it, but they're doing the same thing with the Give Send Go. Like I said, I mean, people, decent people, good people, the first thing that they think about is not setting up a GoFundMe. It's not trying to raise money. That's not the first thing people think of. The first thing people think of is to just, go out there and do that. And yet they had that all set up very fucking quick.
10 million
not only did
10
they
million
have,
as well.
not
Very
only
quickly.
GoFundMe
It's a
was
lot of
set
money.
up, they incorporated a charity to handle the funds. They did all the banking. They sorted out all the banking, all the paperwork. They did all the legal paperwork, and they fully incorporated a charity to act as a trust fund to hold the money. That's not something that grassroots people do, because they don't even think that they have to do it. They don't even think about shit like that. All they think about is let's get out there and protest and then later on maybe they'll think, oh shit, we need to, we're running out of money and whatever. But these people that have organized this, the GoFundMe, I don't believe that they did that for I don't think that was people with integrity that did that. That was people that are cashing in.
I think a lot of people agree with you on that one, Rich. Autodidactic says, I'm saying it doesn't matter who starts these movements. We can take them over. We're only trapped when we blindly follow. I'd agree with that. I'd agree with that.
To me, I think I resonate with what was just said there. But why are you going to hijack something that hasn't got a real integral agenda behind it? If they're doing it for some other reasons, could it not be like a ploy for bringing in harsher rules regarding, maybe protesting around certain things? For me, I just feel like it's problem, reaction, solution. And by hijacking their ideas and, jumping on the bandwagons, we're only bringing a lot more stricter restrictions on us. So it's always important to find out why the people are doing their movement or they're protesting before you just hijack their idea. Because you don't know what sting is going to come out.
Good point, Asita. Good point. It could be a ploy to, problem, reaction, solution, scenario. Tony Bear, go on.
I was just going to respond to that as well, Tony Bear. Tony, I think you've got a good point, but this is where people need to be real. Okay, this is going to be uncomfortable. We're going to have to go through uncomfortable times. These truckers are going through, I'm sure there's a certain aspect of it that's very empowering and very, the camaraderie there. They feel connected. I was listening to that old Canadian trucker.
Double jabbed.
The majority of them are double jabbed.
The majority of them are double jabbed.
They've all had their jabs as well because they had to. But this is principle. This is about principles. So the old Canadian trucker that I watch, he's brilliant. Do you remember? You called him Father Christmas, right? The one that I watched today, he was saying about how truckers, especially, not just Canadian truckers all over Earth, they are loners. They're not. You can't, to get truckers to agree on anything is impossible. You cannot get truckers to agree on anything. You cannot get fiercely independent men to just toe the line. But you can't get them to all agree with each other because they're all, they live in a box. They drive around 12 hours a day and sleep in a box in the behind the driver's seat. Their life is in that cab and in the service stations, just driving cross country delivering goods. And the fact that all of these truckers, they've all come together, they're all agreeing with each other, they've come together, and there's been this unification of truck drivers that's really blown this old trucker Santa Claus away, because he's like, wow, you know, if you can get truckers to unite, then that's a big thing.
This is true. They're an incredibly diverse group of people as well.
Incredibly,
Truckers,
there's trans, there's trans, homosexual, black, white, African, you know, African, Chinese, Pakistani, every race, every color, every creed, every gender, they're all there. It is an incredibly diverse community.
Yeah,
and the thing is, so does everybody expect just them, or it's okay, you guys go through this hardship for us so that we can all benefit from it, but we want to still live in, you know, in comfort. We don't want to have to, because, you know, we're not going to go out on the streets and protest ourselves because we don't have any balls or a spine. So we're just going to sit here, let you do all the work, and please don't, you know, just make sure that we get off. Piss off. This is all of us. We're all in this. And if the truckers have to shut down the food supply, shut down the supply chain in order to get governments to listen, and we should stop calling them governments. We should just call them what they are: criminals. They're fucking criminals. They're mafia. They're mafioso, and they're not the old mafia.
The mob.
They're new mafia. They're the new mob criminals. Yeah. They're the worst of the worst. They're the people that your mum tells you to stay away from. They're the people that your mum should be telling. They're the type of person that your parents tell you to steer well clear of.
Yeah, well clear.
Liars, deceivers. You know, let's not even get started, shall we? I nearly went into one then.
It's all good. It's all good. No, so I think really this situation is one that the show's going to track. We're going to keep you updated with what we're seeing is going on with it. We've been going for about 57 minutes now. We've got a few things that I just want to squeeze into before we bring the show to an end. We're going to go for about an hour today. We're going to go live or pre-recorded. You will get a show a week from us. This is pretty much the last type of show of this kind. I think that's all I can say for now. This is the last time you'll see us in just this format that we're doing just now. The show is going to kind of mold itself into what it's going to be. And in the meantime,
this is kind of a last little shout out in this format, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's the last hurrah in this format.
You know, that's an absolutely great point. I love that. This is the last hurrah in this format. We will, over the next couple of weeks, be transitioning to the new format that we'll be doing. And while we're doing that, we will be incorporating the other co-hosts and bringing you up to speed with everything that they're doing and all the things that are happening. There is so much going on. I haven't even been able to cover.
Martin's in the house. Martin Lecky.
Martin Leedker.
Martin Leedker.
Martin Leedker. Listen. As I was saying, we're only going live for 60 minutes, but if you have tuned into Martin, you'll see that he's going on tour across the country. Shout out. If we can find a way to get to one of these events and come and see you, Martin, we will definitely do so. Shout out to you for getting this massive undertaking underway. I hope everything goes well for you. So yeah, please, everyone give Martin a shout out in the chat room. Lovely to see you in there, my darling. That is something else that's going on across the UK with Martin. Another thing that we'd like to keep everyone up to speed with. As I said, we've got a few minutes left before the end of the show. And I did want to talk about this earlier on. And if you will indulge me for a second, Rich, the suspected reports received in the UK up to and including February 22, adverse reactions to the COVID-19 vaccine taken from the government's website as of today. These are the things that I really want people to bear in mind when they're talking to people that are just so dead cert sure that nothing bad will happen to them, or there'll be no adverse reactions, or there is no such thing as adverse reactions. This is something that I've had a conversation with many people about, is that there is just this blind belief that if they take this injection, everything's going to be all right and everything will be hunky-dory and they can go back to taking holidays and they can just get their freedom back and everything will just be all normal normal like it was prior to March 2020. And I'm here to remind you that that is not the case. Like, people all over the world are having adverse reactions to the AstraZeneca, to the Moderna, to the BioNTech vaccine, and unspecified brands as well, may I mention. In the chat room, can you please let me know? Press 1 if you've heard of the yellow card statistics, and press 2 if you haven't. It's really simple. Press 1 if you've heard of the yellow card statistics, and press 2 if you have not heard of the yellow card statistics. Because if you haven't, it is something I would like to explain to you. If you have, can you help everyone else in the chat room by helping me explain to those in the chat room what the yellow card statistics are? I am going to put a link for you all in the chat that should work and should be able to take you through to the place that I'm giving this information for. Please make sure you pay attention to that, YouTube. Okay, this is not medical misinformation. Okay, this is taken directly from the government's website, which is right there on the screen for you all to see. Right there, www.gov.uk/government/publications/corona COVID-19 vaccine adverse reactions. I've said that all in a sentence. It's there on the screen. It's on the government's website. So please, YouTube, just have a little think before you come at us for medical misinformation.
The thing is, it's not YouTube, is it? It's I mean, it is technically, but it's individuals. Yeah. It's not even I don't think that it's even bots. I think there's a certain amount of it that's, you know, bots that do it, but there's, you know, that they've got these YouTube channels that are
David Weiss in the house.
Ticked,
David Weiss in the house.
They're basically ticked to they've got special powers. If they complain, then boom, you take it. Like you could have 10 people report your channel, but if there's one person reports it, that's it. It gets taken down.
Job's a good one.
You just said David Weiss, how you doing, man? And Martin Leadcar, just want to, all my chat room is all saying hello to you, mate, and you can't see it because they're in my chat room, not yours. But Squirrel Sniper and the gang are all saying hey.
Lovely. So shout out to all of you in the chat room. It's lovely to see you all. Martin, I see you there. David Weiss as well. Shout out to you for tuning in as well. Local Experimentalist UK. Lovely to see you in the chat room as well. I'm just stating here that this website that I'm reading, at the time of the report that I'm giving you, over 157,000 people across the UK had died within 28 days of a positive test of the you-know-what. The point I'm trying to make with this is that these adverse reactions are high numbers. If you look at the bottom of the screen right now, just take a little look. Can you see down there? Chat room, can you see? Yeah. The number of suspected ADR reports received in the UK up to and including the 2nd of February 2022 in England.
Is this for 1 week, or is this the up to and including this week? So all of January up to this week. It's not just 1 week that they're looking at. It's the whole.
Correct.
It's the whole, right. Okay.
Correct. And so, even just the AstraZeneca one there, you can see there's over 200,000. Over 200,000. We're not talking about a couple of people here. So please inform yourself. Please take that link that's in the chat room. Please share it amongst your loved ones. Please let them know that these numbers are very real. Mainstream media would like you to believe that those of you that watched the show before, we showed videos of these things. We got in a lot of trouble with YouTube, for doing so. But these things are very real. People have had horrendous adverse reactions that has then fundamentally changed the rest of their life. As you've seen multiple footballers, multiple athletes, as Rich said, people that are in their prime, that are super, super healthy, having major adverse reactions to this. So this is something that we're going to keep on talking about. We're going to keep on pressing through, and we're going to keep on telling people that have not been made aware that these statistics are available. So again, I'm going to post that link in the chat for all of you. please click on that link, bookmark it, and revisit that website and familiarize yourself with those numbers so that when you're speaking to people, you can have an informed conversation and give people real information about the dangers of these said big pharma drugs. Fire away. I yield the floor.
Yeah, I was just going to say, can you go into your chat on your phone and just give me a wrench so I can deal with this speak truth?
Just bear with me a second. I'm just trying to line up a video as well. Thank you very much, Martin. It's really good to be back. We really are happy to be back as well. And
speak truth. Let me tell you something. Yes, you are woke. Woke. You know what woke is, don't you? You are very woke, mate. So this room isn't for people who are woke. This room is for people who are awake. Okay? There's a difference between woke and awake. You're woke and we're awake. You're a dick with no brains or ability to think for yourself, and we're intelligent people who are having an intelligent conversation. So
I don't think a show would be a show if we didn't have a troll in the chat room. I think trolls are par for the course. I would feel kind of left out if we didn't have trolls in the chat room. So to be fair, trolls are going to be trolls regardless. It's just been so long since I've been able to talk to say something to a troll, man. Because I've been live in so long. Cheers. Underground, 3 fingers as well. Here we go again. Preach, Richie Rich. Adam Forrest, shout out to you. The ethos as well. Realize. Yeah, the trolls are a sign of flack. Artist Liberaris, lovely to see you. Wow, haven't seen that name in ages. Martin says you got to laugh, bruv. You got no way. Artist Liberaris, bloody hell. Yeah, it's been 2 years since I've seen that name, at least. Yeah, exactly. And the ethos says, yeah, Roxy, having trolls means you've made it, innit? Come on. Like, we wouldn't be relevant if we didn't have trolls. Shout out to you. Vividness, shout out to you as well. So yeah, this is not the only time you're going to see us live on your screens. We will be on your screens at least once a week. We will give you a regular time and day that will be on your screens, whether it's pre-recorded or live. We have a lot to bring you each and every week. We're going to bring you up to speed with all of the current events that you should be made aware of, that the mainstream media will not be telling you. As you already know, they're only going to give you that controlled narrative. We will be having the conversations that everybody is too politically correct to have, and we're not going to be afraid about talking about fringe subjects, contentious topics. As you know, controversial subjects are our speciality. Rich, do you want to add anything to that? No, just I'm absolutely over the moon to be back with you, Rox, and I can't wait to get it all started. To get it all going again properly with everybody involved. I know we were planning something a little bit different tonight. It was meant to start at 8 o'clock. Oh yeah, that's what I was going to say. Oh yeah, and if we're late, just there we go. Same stuff, different year. Yeah. Why change the habit of a lifetime?
Same shit, different. Yeah. Why change?
No, admittedly, our guest had to stay on and work. So they let us know really late on in the stage. It was about an hour and a half before we went live. That our guest said that they had to work. So I said to Rich, look, regardless whether our guest is coming on or not, we're still going to go live anyway. I said to you all, we'll be going live, so we will be going live. I just hope moving forward, we can try and narrow that timeline down and I can get a little bit more time accurate and manage my time a little bit better. But yeah, thank you so much to Asita this evening for getting all of the equipment together. It was a little bit of a madness. Rich had to sit there for quite a while, but we've now got a little bit of a setup here that's going to work. And so we will be able to incorporate the other hosts as well and bring you more shows moving forward. If there is anything that you would like us to specifically look into, please contact us at operationrealness@yahoo.com. That's operationrealness@yahoo.com, and we will be happy to hopefully accommodate you in talking about or looking into those said subjects. The last thing we'll do is go through the chat room and give you all a shout out. And yeah, other than that, we'll wrap it up. I've got one more thing to play before we close up this evening. And if there's anything else you want to say, Rich, let me know. We're only about 9 minutes over an hour. Not too bad. Kept it.
I don't want to stop. Yeah, I could keep going for another 2 hours, man. I never want to stop. You say, "Oh, we're going to do a live stream for an hour." I'm like, only an hour.
I know. Only an hour. Oh, we're going to make it manageable, and if we have bigger subjects, we'll do more parts as well, so that you can all kind of, you know, get involved. Get involved. Did you enjoy yourselves in the chat room? I enjoyed myself. Rich, did you enjoy yourself? Nasita, did you enjoy yourself? Yeah. Good. Right. Well, that's pretty much from it from me. Autodidactic. Thank you so much. Capilicious, Vividness, Neil Shannon, Andy Evans. Here we go again. Martin Leaker, Miroslav Kordic, Underground, Stephen Watson, Lee Redpath, Anne Gaynor, William Scales as well, Dr. LA, and
Speak Truth.
Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole. Blocked. Speak Truth got blocked. Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole, lovely to see you as well. Artist Liberaris as well, great to have you in the chat room. Honestly, Andy Evans as well, Lizzo French. Awesome interactions from you all. Thank you so much for taking the time to tune in to the Wide Awake Show. Thank you, Rich. Thank you,
Thank you very much, guys. We'll see you again soon.
I have, as I said, just one more thing I'm going to play. As I said, we were sent in this today, and I thought, yeah, it was a good thing to play. So I'm going to take us back to the share screen. As I said, I'm just a little bit rusty. You just got to give me a break on that one because I'm a little bit rusty, all right? But yeah, I'm going to take us back to the share screen. Do you know what I will say? Shout out to StreamYard, though, because they have updated quite a few things and it has made things a lot easier. I'll be honest, there was a few things that I wasn't looking forward to dealing with, but they've dealt with it. So shout out to StreamYard.
Right. Just a quick question about StreamYard. I'm sure I heard that there had been an update that you could put the chat on the screen so everybody could see the chat.
Away.
I don't know.
Are you for real? Right. Well, let me see if I can sort that out next time. That'd be great. That would be absolutely awesome. Brilliant. Right. Here we go. I'm going to share the screen. Thank you all for tuning in. We will be back with you very, very soon. Massive love and respect to you all. See you soon.
See you soon, guys.
Turn me up, please. Yo, world peace, is that too much to ask for? There's no peace and love until they scrap wars. They print the money while we paying tax for, and we don't want your vaccines or COVID passports. World peace, is that too much to ask for? There's no peace and love until they scrap wars. They print the money while we paying tax for, and we don't want your vaccines or COVID passports. The human race is under attack now, so will you stand your ground or will you back down? I'm sick of seeing fiends all cracked out, and these younger brothers dealing in the trap house. It's a message to the people out there selling weight, and all the 9-to-5ers that are never late. You can get to where you wanna be and elevate. You can pray for what you want or even meditate, but appreciate life and just give thanks. I see a poor man get ignored by a rich man. I'm seeing homeless living outside a big bank, but without bad there's no good, it's called yin yang. Free the world or they'll take my life for it, but don't worry cause I'll live on through my spirit. For this money we give up too much time for it, and why we chasing money when we can't die with it? World peace, is that too much to ask for? There's no peace and love until they scrap wars. They print the money while we paying tax for, and we don't want your vaccines or COVID passports. World peace, is that too much to ask for? There's no peace and love until they scrap wars. They print the money while we paying tax for, and we don't want your vaccines or COVID passports. Stop the madness, I can never stand for this. They jab the adults, now they wanna jab the kids. The world needs saving, on the man for it, but shit's gonna get worse, can you handle it? All of this to apparently protect the elderly. Fuck the government, all they do is sell your dreams. Trying to find paradise is like hell to me. Free the world or die trying, who's helping me? Cause there's another lockdown, they are mocking it. It's a new world order, are you clocking it? Turn off the news if you're still watching it, cause all they do is chat shit, put a sock in it. You thought it would get better, but it's getting worse. People been double jabbing, ready to get a third. Or it said stay at home, I didn't get a word. Cause before my life is over, I'ma live it first. World peace, is that too much to ask for? There's no peace and love until they scrap wars. They print the money while we paying tax for, and we don't want your vaccines or COVID passports. World peace, is that too much to ask for? There's no peace and love until they scrap wars. They print the money while we paying tax for, and we don't want your vaccines or COVID passports. World peace, is that too much to ask for? There's no peace and love until they scrap wars. They print the money while we paying tax for, and we don't want your vaccines or COVID passports. World peace, is that too much to ask for? There's no peace and love until they scrap wars. They print the money while we paying tax for, and we don't want your vaccines or COVID passports.